This podcast is rated MA. It may contain coarse language, sexual situations, and fantasy violence. It is not recommended for persons under 17.
Welcome to the 5th edition D&D podcast, The Rise of Tiamat and the Dragon Queen's Horde. Episode 4, On the Road, Part 3. I am Andrew Felling, the Dungeon Master.
I am Kirk, and I'm playing Caradin, the Wood Elf Monk.
This is Mary. I will be playing Zelania, the Wood Elf Sorcerer.
This is Seth. I'll be playing the Paladin Dragonborn Cespedes.
My name is Eric. I'm playing Falar, the Wood Elf Ranger.
So just a quick little recap. Last time we were all here, you had all been traveling over, I think they're called the Dead Fields, or the Fields of the Dead, something like that. And, anyways, you were traveling along to the Fields of the Dead, or the Dead Fields, one of the two. I think it was the Dead Fields. A place that was known for holding over a century's worth of just bloody battles, which is now a more or less quiet route along the Sword Coast. And you guys are attempting to infiltrate a caravan coming out of Baldur's Gate that's going to head north, that some of the cults of the dragon are hidden within. And what you have decided to do, because you didn't want to leave your own cart behind, A, because it's a nice cart, and B, it's a pretty well defendable position given the reinforcements and everything it's got. You decided to travel to one of the many little halfway way stations throughout the Fields of the Dead, where you could then meet up with the caravan and hopefully convince them to let you guys join in as traders that were left behind due to cart damage or something like that. You guys have arrived at one of these stations. They have no names. It's just station 1, 2, things like that. And so you got about a half day's rest, or a half day where you're able to be here. You are able to, and there are workable tools and lumber, things where you could reshoe a horse if necessary. So like a small little forge, a little bit, not a full-blown like lumber mill, but just very serviceable way station. And while there are no beds per se in there, there are very wide, broad benches and tables that you could easily roll some mats out onto and take a much needed, deserved deep rest.
Right, because Seth is the only one so far who has been really good at sleeping on this trip.
He's like the elves got his back. We're good. He's good.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to go back to snoring.
Yeah, so that's where we left you all off. I'm just going to take a quick survey. Was there anything anyone really wanted to do in that first half day where you were at the way station?
I didn't write anything down. We weren't going to try and fix up the cart or anything, because I don't think we have
Yeah, I don't
the
think there was
skills.
anything.
There would have been some superficial damage, and I mean, like, you can do things like, take this board down, drive nails in, put this board back. So you could fix it up like that. That's not a problem.
Yeah. And there's no one else here? This is just like a...
Currently, it's just you.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just kind of waiting.
So that'll make it easier for us to say that we've been here for a couple days or whatever and waiting.
Right, that is one of the things. You guys you guys roughly know of a timetable in which these caravans travel, and that was the idea, was target this during one of those open windows.
Anything worthwhile to plunder while we're all alone here?
You could probably get a set of tools, be they woodworking or, I wouldn't say armor crafting, but definitely metalworking. You could probably get like a mess kit, a cup. Like, it's nothing of value is really left here.
Let's take the tools and throw them in the cart in case we need them at some point.
I don't think I have any skills to use.
Right, I don't.
No?
I'm like holding a hammer up the wrong way and going, I don't really see the point.
Well, it's a hammer. It doesn't have one.
But, I mean, sometimes they have those claw bits on the end. It could be...
No, that's Industrial Revolution technology. Clawed hammers, those don't exist here.
Yeah, I don't even know what that would be to do woodworking or anything. There's no skills like that anymore. Or not in this.
So it kind of depends on what you want to do. Generally, with tools, you have it's kind of all encompassing for both design and application. And it kind of depends on what you're doing. If you're designing a lock, well, that would be your intelligence plus if you are proficient in a tool and you have that tool on you, then it's design plus it's your intelligence plus your proficiency modifier, and the tool allows you to do it. Okay. If you are not proficient with the tool, then you're just kind of guessing on what you need to do. And then the same thing applies to creating it. A lock being more mechanical will probably be dexterity, where forging a hammer is more strength-based. So that would be... So it kind of becomes just a generic skill check. And if you are proficient with the tool, it allows you to add your proficiency modifier to do it. And the tool itself allows you to do it, period. Like, you can't pick a lock without a lock pick.
Makes sense. All right, leave the tools.
So you're going to stay here, huh?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't have anything that I was wanting to work on or do or anything in the meantime.
I don't either.
Okay. I was just...
Nope.
Valar? Okay.
Nope, yeah.
Get your characters up real quick.
Oh, it is called Fields of the Dead.
Fields of the Dead. Yes.
Yep, I did write it down. And
Very
we have to go
nice.
through the bark forest? Black forest?
Bark Forest.
I think it was black.
Sounds inviting.
Barrack forest, maybe? I don't know.
The Baroque.
And then Misty forest.
Well, I know those weren't all on top of each other, so I'm trying to get the... Ooh, I know what I did. Okay.
Troll bark forest, maybe? My handwriting
yeah,
all of a
this is
sudden-
what I
That sounds
did.
actually vaguely familiar.
It didn't...
It could be making things up, but
It gives... So in the... They give me locations in the adventure, and then I actually physically looked up a map. So I was like, where the fuck are you guys? Yeah, the Misty Forest is way up. And it is Troll Bark, which is one word.
I am rewriting that because it looks bad.
looks like not that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do one quick flip around for people. So if you guys, so with what you guys are doing is where my cursor is, that's where you're located, and you are heading towards the Boar Sky Bridge is where the caravan would normally go. So
Currently located cursor. Have to find the...
it's over here down the bottom.
Found it. It's very small.
Yes,
Okay, got it. It's very small.
it's like over here-ish.
On the land.
Oh, you're going dark.
Nope.
Is it below Baldur's Gate or above it? Oh, it's above it.
It's above.
Yeah, okay, see it.
Yeah, you're like just above Baldur's Gate.
Okay.
And
I'll take your word for
yeah,
it.
if you Google, if you Google and you like go about an inch above, an inch north from Baldur's Gate on the map, that's where you guys currently are. So like on the same day you guys got to this location is the same day that they were going to. It was like the day after they left Baldur's Gate. And you do have. Oh man, I don't remember the exact amount of time because to measure it, but I want to see if they have like a week before you get to Boar Sky Bridge. Pan out and see if I can find out. Haha, that's. Oh wait, no, that's 500 miles with that. Shit. Oh, okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, so if you guys traveled in a straight line, which is impossible given these hills, it would be 500 miles.
Okay.
And I think a cart moves like speed of cart.
I don't know, but I would not walk 500 miles.
What about 500 more? Is that right out?
Oh man.
If I had
Is
to
that
do that,
right
I would
out?
definitely fall right down on somebody's door.
Wah, wah.
So it's 50 miles. Right?
Ba-da-ba-ba.
Yeah, because the cart depends on terrain, if you're on a road, if blah, 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 blah. It was a nightmare in Pathfinder to figure out that route you guys were taking.
This makes no sense.
There are 500 Baldur's Gate maps.
Yes, there are.
If you just go with the 5e and it's the first link.
That was a great game, by the way. That was an old school.
Oh yeah,
loved-
No, that was awesome.
it was
Perfect.
surprisingly complex.
Minsk.
Yeah, oh my god.
And every time I hear that voice actor in like Star Wars animated shit, I'm like, oh, I love that guy.
So at a trot, you're able to travel about 60 miles a day.
Nice.
So so that's what it is. It's a 10-day trip from Baldur's Gate and you're like a day and a half out.
Okay. Go for the eyes, Minsk. Wee.
That sounded like incredibly. Go for the ice mix now.
It was crazy.
Okay.
You can now download all those waves, and it's just hilarious to hear.
Hilarity ensues. All right, so getting back to this, just because time. All right, so you all are able to wake up in the morning. You're able to have your whatever breakfast ration you would prefer, and probably about midday is when you're able to see, like, I don't know, like what some standing. I'm gonna Fowler, you're standing up on the roof, just trying to get a good view, which you're actually pretty much able to because it kind of puts you a little bit above most of the hills.
Okay.
And you are able to see this slow winding caravan, about 7 carts. Most of them do appear to be covered, and they are just slowly making their way on up to you. You estimate they probably have about 45 minutes to an hour before they arrive.
You said how many carts was it?
7.
Can I determine, are they set up like a military style unit where they have like defenders all around, like armored people or anything like that? Are they fairly
You got a
laid
background
back?
of soldier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll just give this to you. It's the ones up front, like the 2 carts, they both definitely have a shotgun. And then there are kind of like the middle is mostly just like this congested mess, but that does appear to be where more of the riders are located. And you can't really see the back, but it kind of appears to be the further it gets away from the front, the less organized it seems to be. So you wouldn't go as far as to say it's militaristic, but at the very least, the people leading the way seem to be competent.
Okay. Any armored soldiers?
Absolutely. On that first one, it's probably a combination of breastplate and chain shirt, because you just kind of catch the gleam of it through the midday sun. And definitely one of the riders up near him also has some more of the heavier armor on, kind of looking back. You got to strain your eyes to see, but it looks like most of the riders look like leathered mercenaries. So their armor, while not shiny like the guys up front, is probably more functional. And while maybe it won't stop all of the arrows, it will prevent the arrow from, reaching their heart.
Gotcha.
Are we going to blend in with these guys?
We're going to try and just ask them if we could join.
All right.
Yeah, because he's describing the guys in the very front of leading the caravan. It's much more chaotic in the middle. And I don't know that we look like anything in particular, for the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably true.
You totally look like you're acting natural.
2 half-naked elves, another elf, a dragonborn.
In full
Nothing
armor.
different
Yeah.
with that.
No, it's perfectly fine.
With
casual.
with a bear helmet.
Do you want to come up with a valid story or excuse for joining them?
Hey, what do we want to tell them? We had 2 days. I forgot.
Oh, there was something we needed to do before they got here. Right.
Just the subtle little GM nod, like, "Hey guys, remember how you're supposed to have this story?"
We were attacked by
People that took our clothes.
kobolds.
You were attacked by
Dead things. Oh, wait.
Specifically,
Right.
one thing that did mess up your cart a little bit, more than a little bit, almost snapped an axle. Was 2 zombie ogres.
Right, but
Yeah.
wouldn't we have not encountered those if we had been able to set out at the right time?
I mean, we could have been coming from a different direction or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning towards using like the battle damage stuff as an
fine.
excuse, saying, "Hey, we're glad you guys are here. There's definitely advantage in traveling in numbers. Can we travel with you? We've
Yeah.
gone under attack a couple times to these lands."
Yeah.
And and just kind of like reiterating, this is stuff that all your characters know that we've just forgotten over the time, is the reason everyone travels in caravans and the caravans are so regularly scheduled is for this exact reason, specifically through this area, is to track whether or not, are we missing anyone? Where are these attacks? What's attacking? Because, it is the fields of the dead, and the dead do walk among them. So saying that you were attacked is a very plausible story. Or even that it's like, yeah, we got attacked, but the repairs are going to take so long that the rest of our caravan left. I mean, that's exactly why they have these way stations.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that sounds perfect to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds plausible. They kicked it. I mean, or we could just go with they kicked us out of the caravan because we have a snoring dragon.
And that one refuses to put on a shirt. They cited morality clauses. I don't know what they were talking about.
The children were making songs and we didn't like it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, nobody wants their kid to grow up to be a bard. Then you got to pay for college.
Oh, fine arts school. Meh.
Get your liberal arts and fine arts, and
Yeah.
What's your
then go
goals?
be a barista.
I'm gonna ride around and sing songs. Oh God.
Hope you find a patron quick, because otherwise you're just going to be broke forever.
When Jane's a real just ugly head, he brings it to the
I'll bring the coconuts.
Now remember, everyone, when your patron says now, don't neglect the balls. Use the Monet cupping position in order to... or as I like to call it, second and third. Okay, well, that's too far.
So I guess we'll look, as innocuous as we can when they approach, and being like, oh, kind of not overly joyed, but hey, wow, cool, we might be able to get with another caravan.
All right. And so they do. So about 45 minutes passes. They're moving on the quicker side of what you thought. And they pull in the first carriage. The first cart is more of a carriage than anything else, adorned with red drapes and many symbols of the sun or fire around it. And it pulls with purpose right up into the front of the stalls, and the horses have this just really nice rowan, almost chestnut color. These were bred
And matched.
Yeah.
Royalty.
And they were they are set immediately over into the stables. The driver, which was standing behind, immediately just starts tending to them, and he's wearing kind of some scrappy patchwork leather and clothes. You almost get the feeling immediately that like these horses are treated way nicer than he is. And then there was the shotgun, who was sitting on top with a very nice heavy crossbow, nocked. Doesn't dismount right away, but definitely does start taking a big scan of the area. The armored guy on horseback, he's got a helmet that covers most of his face, but you can still see most of his features as well. Human male. He begins to kind of do a quick circle of the premises. Anyone who's just standing out, he notes and kind of gives a nod to, but doesn't engage with anything until he finishes his patrol. The rest of the caravan quickly comes up, fighting for whatever space they can get into, as close to the stall or as close to the various tools that they can. The last cart, which is this open thing, it drives like right up to the door of the what would be serving as like the longhouse, and this little gnome man like throws the lead of his donkey over the over like a little like fence hiss post and just walks right on in, just not giving a fuck about anything. And so now you have a mixture of humans, elves, dwarfs. There's one or two halflings. There is the gnome. All of you know those delicious pink skin races. That means they're good. So, what would people like to do?
Do we see...
Sorry, it's not a male gnome. It is a female gnome.
All the difference in the world.
A lot more flair.
I don't know if it matters so much at this point, just out of curiosity. Do we see anyone that we can tell is aligned with Tiamat? Like, is there any cultists, or like, do we see any indication?
Roll a perception, and I'm only saying that because I'm assuming you're not like doing the super thorough investigation. Like,
Right.
You're not rifling through people's pockets.
No.
Right.
Just
Like,
at first.
hey, you got any tattoos?
Do.
The symbol of the butterfly.
Does it look like there's any security in charge of the whole thing, or is it just security for that first coach?
I'll let you pick between sense motive and perception, whichever one you'd feel.
I got a 14 on my perception.
On your perception?
Yeah.
You actually do see a few religions, or maybe not so many religions, but things of status. The symbols and everything on that first cart are someone who is a red wizard of Thay. Probably someone of immense power and wealth, which in Thay both go hand in hand, specifically with being a red wizard.
And human, because they're racist as fuck.
As fuck. You thought dwarves were bad. You thought Duragar were bad. Anyways, so you do see that, and while no one has removed themselves from the carriage, and while the shotgun is still very much sitting on his perch, I would say, but it's very much they are both announcing his presence and warning what's inside. You do see a few other holy symbols, depending on who people are, various lesser gods of travel, as gods of protection and order and merchants. They all seem to have their symbols very much out on display. But no, you don't see anything that would be of the Cult of the Dragon.
They rolled up their banners when they arrived.
Yeah. They
Put on some different robes.
right. What you didn't realize is all of those robes are reversible, and on the inside, they're all green.
I rolled 13 with 7 on perception.
Okay.
Just to see if there's anybody in charge that's like watching over the whole caravan, or
Caravan as a whole, no. But everyone does seem to be taking point, or at least giving enough of a birth of space and authority to the Thay wizards, him and his entourage, which in total does come into his carriage, his driver, the shotgun, 2 horsemen, and then 1 smaller cart with a tarp over it that has a single driver that pulls just got a little pinto horse. And that seemed to be carts 1 and 2 of the caravan. Everyone else, in terms of protection, seems to have their own either guard or mercenary or hired thug, depending on, and it's very much not the descriptor you'd use for each of these people doesn't really so much go to where they are in line. Mostly because, like I said, that middle is just such a mess.
I'm guessing since this is like a routine thing,
Right.
like probably some of these people have made this trip multiple
Right.
times, and it's just second, no big deal.
Right.
And if they haven't, some of the caravan guards definitely have, or the hired thugs probably definitely have.
Yeah.
They just make a living going back and forth on these trails with these people.
Yeah, I mean, every you basically you go left and you go right. Once a month, you end up at home, and
And the wife in
Wine
one
and
town
hookers.
doesn't know about the wife in the other
Perfect.
town, and everything's great.
yeah.
I'll go up to one of the carts in the middle that's unloading or whatever and keep my distance, but just walk up and look for the person who seems to be security for that
I'm
cart.
guessing I should probably
It's
stay
not
with our
terribly
cart
busy.
and not ruffle feathers.
Oh, I'm sitting on top of our cart just
Yeah.
to A, have a vantage point as people arrive, and to B, be like, no, this is mine.
It's just running around with a scorpion. No, mine, off.
Just because I feel at home with the soldier classes, I'm gonna, also kind of see if I can figure out who would be the one to talk to about
Okay.
potentially joining.
So what we're gonna do here is, because they've just got a whole bunch of NPCs, I'm gonna have you roll a dice, and that's gonna determine who you talk to.
Okay.
So I'll say, oh, nice, that's perfect. There are 20 of them.
They're doing their job. 12.
All right, 12, and then if you want to do the same,
5.
5. Okay. I could have just read the line of the first fucking thing. A list of 20 NPCs has been provided. No, I had a count. So 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Let's say, just starting with you, Thalar. You see a female dwarf who has a very sun-beaten face, who's wearing a breastplate to cover, her that does have both front and back clasps. She's wearing some nice metal greaves, but the rest of it is all is all leather, and in the places where she needs the extra padding, it's all hardened. This very much to you looks at, it's like a what you'd almost describe as like heavy ranger gear is what this
Okay.
dwarf is wearing. And she seems to be directing 2 other human males around in terms of getting things. And they have parked up near the tools. And you hear her mention, it's like, all right. You know, we've got 1 good axle, but see if you can get another one so we can have a spare. We're not breaking down on the road. You know, take a whetstone, go sharpen all these, you know, like, it's very quick function. She's like, I know what I'm doing. Get this going. Cup.
Okay. I'm going to kind of approach slowly and, you know, just give a standard, you know, good day, traveler greeting. Leave it at that, yeah.
Okay. When you do that, she turns around. And she turns immediately and is staring like right at your stomach before then going down and then up. It's going, I haven't seen you. Where did you come from?
We came from farther west, I think.
East.
If you're looking for correct, east. Farther west would be the ocean
Correct.
at this point.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah. So we come from farther east and found that our path had been loaded with brigands and other foul beasts, and have found that we've been under attack a few times. So we've stayed here for a couple nights, hoping that we could that joined up with other travelers. As you know, there's strength in numbers, and it looks like we've found some numbers.
I'll let you decide. Roll either a persuasion or a deception. Because there's a lot of truth in what you're saying, but there's also some key things that are almost all out lie.
Right.
And you're kind of walking that line up to where it's like, I'll let you decide which.
Yeah, I'll go. Well, let me look at my skills. Then I'll tell you.
What am I better at?
That's the hint I'm
Neither.
giving.
Sure it
This
is.
not going to go well. Big numbers. 14.
Okay.
And that'll be, well, it doesn't matter. Both of them. But I'll say persuasion. I'm not
Okay.
looking to deceive quite yet. Just maybe leave out the whole truth. How about that?
Okay. She kind of gives you a both flat but stern look before she kind of pulls on your arm, bringing it forward, and she sees one of your ranger crests.
Okay.
And goes, well, at least you won't be useless or dead weight. No one's going to stop you from joining the caravan. Scarlet up front might, but no one can stop you. Just no one else is going to look out for you. That's my only advice. If you don't mind, I got to get back to take care of mine on my own.
Absolutely. Thank you for the advice. But one quick question before you go. Scarlet, you mentioned? Is this someone that I need to speak with?
You don't need to speak with them, and they'd probably prefer it if you didn't. They just think they're in charge. She just kind of nods towards the Fae carriage.
Gotcha. Okay. I thank her. Thank you very much. And as I'm walking away, I kind of turn over my head and say, "Don't worry, we can deal with ourselves. We just want to be with a group."
Just gives that very like awkward thumbs up, like okay.
I'm gonna head towards.
TLDR. Just didn't care.
Yeah. What's your? Damn it. What's your
My name is Carradine.
Carradine. I'm gonna head towards Carradine just so we can.
Been a while.
I'm sure he's gonna be talking to somebody while this is all going on, and we'll meet up and exchange notes.
All All right, you got a 13.
I rolled a 13, but I have a +7.
Oh well, no. This is just I was having you roll
Oh,
to
12,
d20.
12.
Okay,
Sorry.
All right. So okay, you find this rather homely looking female human. She's dressed in simple leathers. Has both a nice, shiny, sturdy-looking spear and a nice, brand-new-looking bow, full quiver, and she is carefully applying beeswax to the string of a string of the bow, and is just kind of more or less leaning up against one of the middle carts. This one would be more of like a covered wagon.
Okay. I walk up and I bow, and while I'm stayed bow, I say, "My lady."
She really, like kind of fusses and fixes, and and she immediately starts to go for kind of like a half curtsy, and then stops and switches it over to a bow just to correct herself.
I raise up. We were wondering if we could join your caravan. Is there anyone in charge we need to speak to?
Oh, I don't know. Oin seems to have everybody he's going to need for his carts. We might want to see if somebody else needs someone for their cart.
We have our own cart. We just wish to tag along.
Oh, I don't know the rules. In terms of getting a cart on, I've only ever, joined on as a hired spear, and so to be perfectly honest, this is my first time, and it's going really, really well.
Excellent. Is anyone giving orders to all the carts?
Oh well, there's his lordship Asbara Jos, he's got such a long title. It's the Red Wizard from Thay. He seems to everyone seems to be following him. Or at the very least, he has to leave before everybody else can leave.
Huh.
I don't know. Either way, it appears that if you just stay out of his way, everything is fine.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I bow again.
And she, in a more soldiery bow this time, gets it.
And I start heading to the front of the caravan, where I guess I run into you.
Yeah, I'm looking for you.
We apparently have to talk to... I didn't write his name down.
The actual name you got it there was Asbara, Azbara, Jos, Jos.
All right. All right. I explain we need to talk to this person. They seem to be in charge, quite possibly, or might get upset if we just tag on and...
Yeah, I
Don't let them
also spoke to another person with authority up front, and she explained to me that we might want to steer clear of that group, but they do seem to be the unofficial leaders of this caravan.
It wouldn't hurt to ask, I guess.
Yes. I also guess. All right, well... You lead the way.
Okay. Casually walk up to the front, kind of looking at the carts as we're going along, just for anything out of the ordinary or anything strange. As we're walking side by side beside them.
Yeah, you guys mostly hit like you probably ran into like the fourth cart in line, and you probably hit up number 6.
Okay.
And as you go, because number 5 is just a standard, it's a very broad wagon. It's pulled by 2 ox, has several barrels over the top, some of the more thuggish looking guys seem to be there, and they all just picking their teeth. One of them started a little campfire out there. Cart 3 in the caravan has a human, has several human guards, but seems to be mostly orchestrated by a male halfling who's seems to be have gone into like this, and it's like this tall gypsy looking thing. He seems to be going inside and muddling around with things in there, and then coming back out and handing out things to his guards.
Okay. All right. Just a casual walk by, and where's the gentleman that gave us the nod when he parked from the first carriage?
Okay, that would have been the rider. At this point in time, you see his horse tied off in the stable, being tended to by the kind of ratty driver.
Okay.
But you don't see him specifically. Several people have gone inside, so he might be one of those.
Okay.
The shotgun very much still in his spot, and the second driver, who doesn't look nearly as ratty as the other one.
Okay.
He's still just sitting on his cart, just hanging out.
Okay. Guess go inside. See if they're all inside.
Okay. I'll kind of just back you up and we'll go from there.
Okay. Just head inside.
Yeah.
Give a look around, see if they're there.
Yeah.
And he's there. That's
Yeah,
fine.
and you see him. He's because when you get in there, there's like we described before, there was like almost one full length of wall with a bunch of stoves, and he's over at one of them. He's got one of the pots and one of the pans down. He's lit a fire in the stove, and he's just starting to cook up some meat and eggs and bread.
Okay. Walk over to him, bow. Excuse me, sir. And wait for him to turn around or acknowledge me.
He doesn't really turn, but kind of like over his shoulder. What business have you?
We were wondering if our cart could tag along at the end of the caravan to the... Where are we going? Boar Spear Bridge?
Well, so you're going through Boar Spear Bridge, but your end goal is Waterdeep.
Waterdeep. We're traveling to Waterdeep, and we were wondering if we could tag along.
What business have you in Waterdeep?
What business do you have?
Are you asking me, the DM?
No, I'm asking him.
Oh.
I look surprised, like, why would you ask me this? Well, what business do you have?
If you wish to join my caravan, I must know your business.
Are you Asbera?
I am Asbera's security. This caravan follows him, therefore it follows me.
Okay.
And it is Lord Asbara Jose, or Jose, Red Wizard of Thay.
Very good.
And with that one, he does kind of like stop his cooking and turn to slowly face you. You see this man, he's got the kind of olive skin. He does have a few blue and black tattoos on his face and hands, all very stereotypical of the location.
Waterdeep's a huge city, isn't it?
Oh, it's huge.
Okay.
And Thay does not own it or these roads,
Right.
and you know this.
We're traveling from Elturel. When we seek greater opportunity in Waterdeep.
Roll the persuasion.
9.
He pauses that and before turning back to his Fuguang. You wish to join the caravan, and you turn the wrong direction to travel from Athriel to Waterdeep. So, this is kind of like for you, and you might have known this. I don't know. One of the directions for you could have literally gone straight up, and there is a highway that you could have eventually run into.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Because all I have is southeast of Greenhist is where Eltrail was.
Yep. Yeah, and it's one of those like you guys never traveled that highway before. You weren't told about it. You and the other two are from further south, so this is a little. You're a little out of sorts up here.
Would Greenhist have been more in the direction if we'd said that?
That actually would have been even closer, and you would have been even further off. Because again, it's like you started over here with Ithariel, and you went.
Oh, there it is.
And it's going to try, and now you're trying to go back up this way.
We could have picked one of us up.
Oh, I see.
And one of those
I didn't
locations.
see the other.
Yeah, oh, that's because I originally had it zoomed in over here, but yeah, no, it's yeah. Keep bumping my mic. Yeah, it's a.
There's nothing below.
It's basically we should have been coming from Baldur's Gate if we're on this
What
road.
was that?
More or less.
Sorry, my phone was not on silent. My bad. Actually, it was on silent, and it's just an alarm.
Time to go.
And where's the place we started in? Bottenberg.
Oh, that is even further south to where it's not actually on the Sword Coast. That's a homebrew place that I made.
Well, I have no idea then.
Yeah, no, he's more or less turned his back on you and has ended the conversation.
Go away.
Okay.
And has and while he has made no threats, and he has not said no, he's definitely not welcoming to you.
Okay. I guess head out. Head out of the building.
Okay.
Is he really
No.
in charge? Is this guy really in charge? Because the lady I talked to didn't seem to seem.
He
seem to
seemed
think
like he just had a little ego.
No, I mean, she didn't sound like they were in charge.
Right,
They're just at the head of the line.
right.
Well, okay, so it's a little reverse. Your person believed they were in charge of the whole caravan.
Okay.
Your person knew what was up, and it's like they're just in front.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think we need permission from them, although it might spare us some trouble if we give them a good reason why we're here. Do we want to offer some services to the caravan, possibly?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like. I mean, I'm sitting on top of a wagon, but it doesn't look like there's anything like that going on here. Like literally, if we just like slot ourselves in somewhere, I don't think anybody's gonna say look twice.
Okay.
Or we just follow a little bit behind. Like 200 yards. Slowly creep up.
Just creep on them
Over
in the
2
night.
days.
I think we should go back and make friends with just some of these jolly folk and they to the point where they'll vouch if necessary, because it looks like they're going to dig in here for at least a night.
Yeah. Okay.
So we can get jovial, have a few drinks.
Oh, I like this plan. She said,
Make some
live
friends
here
and
next
then-
to you because you mentioned alcohol.
Make some friends and then just move along with them.
Yeah.
All right. Cespedes, Zell, is there anything you guys, while they were doing
No,
their discussion,
I'm literally just sitting on top of the wagon watching all the people because I still find them fascinating, but also weird.
I'm just trying to stay in the shadows.
okay.
So I'm just like sitting on top going, ooh, and he's just like brooding quietly against a wheel somewhere.
Yeah. Which is kind of ironic because the people who don't want you guys to join are the ones that are parked closest to you guys.
Right, because we got here first.
Yeah, super first.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone seems to be busting out like full-on camp sets, setting up actual tents. Some more of the where and it seems to be almost splitting in the sense of guards seem to be taking up tents and stuff outside, where more of the merchants seem to be going inside, where they're setting up bedrolls and stuff like that on. So everyone, and you are very much correct in, everyone seems to be going to be planning to dig in here for at least the night.
How do we want to blend?
Like I said, I
Mix and mingle.
I just kind of want to mix and mingle with some of the more common folk.
Are we cupping cookies?
I have changed my mind.
I have plenty.
I just look up and he's just doing this motion. I'm like, are we ghost nuts? What are we doing here? All right.
You got to keep them happy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean. All right.
I guess we could try to.
For you, I kind of skipped over it, but she definitely would have given you her name. Orvustia.
How do you spell that?
Orvustia. Orvustia.
Okay.
And the dwarf you would have spoken to, you didn't give your name, so she didn't give hers. That would make sense. Okay. But yeah, so to kind of like describe some of the people you see here, human merchant. There's another man who seems to be walking around with a whole bunch of scroll tubes strapped like all over him. Very much keeping with the merchants, but is very much not a merchant. He looks like he doesn't really have much money.
Scroll case is all empty.
Couple of there's a half elf merchant type. There is a moon elf merchant type. The shield dwarf, the halfling. A few poor looking humans who just look like they could just be straight up travelers. Like, you know, I'm gonna go see Irma in. Right. A very portly looking dwarf merchant. Male moon elf merchant. A second gnome.
Ooh.
And yeah, then there's just a bunch of human and dwarf guards. So so all the guards do seem to be all of their, while they're not, with the exception of the red wagon, they seem to be taking the other 5 and kind of circling them all up. And while everyone's staying adjacent to their wagons, they're all letting their they're very much just like kind of circle of, you know, it's a circle of wagons, and then each wagon's got its own little cooking fire, and then there's just space in the middle where everyone's just kind of like shooting the shit, like, you know, like there's a dice game going.
Nice.
And that's what's outside. Inside, the merchants are far more intermingled with each other, where they seem to be sitting at only like one of 2 tables, even though there's like, you know, like 10 like long tables, where they're all seem to be, but the rest of the tables that weren't converted, that weren't being used to eat, they've all been converted into basically beds. The members from Thay, they all have, in realizing that you guys are not going to have the manners to move your cart. They do stable the horses, and the dirty driver seems to be staying with them, where they then move the cart over to another area where they tack up a privacy tarp up and around, and the shotgun and the that little guard like the guard, almost like night captain kind of guy, and the clean driver, along with the wizard, all seem to stand behind there. And the wizard you guys have not seen yet. He has been you've kind of gotten some silhouette through the curtains, but haven't seen him physically yet.
We've been here for hours and he hasn't come out of the cart.
You don't know what happened once that privacy fence went up.
True. True.
Or I should say, yet.
Yeah. Huh. Mingle with the guards first, I guess.
Yeah, just pick somebody who looks like they're having fun.
They are definitely Zell speed.
Don't we have some stuff in the cart?
We have a whole bunch of stuff in the cart.
Some gin and...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have some pony kegs of a decent wine, and then I think you have an actual barrel of gin.
Yeah.
Provisions.
These are the important things. Fermentation takes too long to do it on the road.
True. No, you straight up said, I want this. I'm like, it costs this much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have 2 small wine casks.
Yes.
And that's it. I didn't put anything down about...
She was very insistent on gin. I looked those prices up. I didn't give it to her wholesale. I know that much. But I definitely gave her a bulk order.
This was a Costco deal, damn it.
Yeah, this is definitely a Costco deal. Because you're like, oh, I want a barrel. I'm like, you realize a barrel is 50 gallons, right? I want a barrel. Okay, you have a barrel of gin.
Yeah, and when it's empty, we can use it for water. This makes perfect sense.
We're right
Well,
down
it
the
won't
river.
take long for her to empty.
Right, and then you guys also have, and a few other things you guys would have been provided with are some generic goods. So it looks like you guys are actually merchants going to sell some stuff. You probably got some like general store supplies, but like also in like large quantities of. So the gin could actually be like a barrel, something you're going to sell. But no, that's a Zell provision.
That's okay. We're just on our way to set up the shop. Our supplies are behind us.
There you go.
We're
Or
just
they're ahead of
scouting
you.
a new location, you know.
Yeah.
You've got rope. You got
The
rope
point
for
is,
days.
you have dice
Rope
and I
for
have
days.
drinking, so let's do this.
I have a flute, too.
I have a flute as well, or
Cool.
panpipes, and which, same thing.
Might be able to...
I also have dice that I picked up from a creepy cultist cavern.
I got a big bada boom sword.
You do have a big bada boom sword that woke up a whole cave.
Yes, it did.
It's like,
Not well under my care, I would like to add.
I still just love that. So it's just like, oh, how loud is this thing? Everything within so many miles. Miles? Oh.
It works.
It works. It works.
All right.
That is loud. Okay. I guess hang out and kind of just listen to people for a while, a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to just kind of...
See if anyone whips out any instruments, or are we going to have to be the...
Just hang out, start chatting, get in on a game of dice. You said
Yeah.
there was something like that going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll go with Zell and play some dice.
All right. Of course, it's right after I bit into a cookie. So you go to the dice game, and that seems to be handled on by... let's see. A male gnome is the one currently rolling, and he does not seem to be too happy. He still definitely has a stack of coins in front of him, predominantly copper. But there's still a few silver, and there is a gold. He looses the dice. It's like, come on! a human male and a human and dwarf male each seem to slide the pot away from him. He immediately pulls out 4 more copper, slams them down, and goes, "Again!" And it's just a simple cup and dice game where it's like the evens are odd.
Yeah.
You see it in every anime ever.
Right.
They're playing that game.
Sounds good. Is there a whole bunch of people playing with them, or just a couple?
I'd say in total, you probably have about 6 people around them. But the ones actually playing is a dwarf male, a gnome male, and a human male. And the gnome male is rolling.
I'll plop down some coins. I don't know how this game works.
I'm trying to get my character sheet to wake up. Sorry.
I'm chewing.
Yeah, it's...
Okay. How much coin do you drop down?
I'll just follow suit with the gnome and put 4 copper.
Okay. The gnome sees his bet matched, but it's by a scaly hand. And at first he's like, "Hello!
Hi.
I've either been drinking a lot more than I think, or you're the world's largest kobold." Figment of my imagination it is. Well, voice in me ahead, is that real? He goes down to
Well,
pick
the
up...
money's real.
He does. He goes down and picks up one of the coppers, and he starts flexing it and bites it. And he goes, real enough for me. Takes a shot of something. Puts the dice in the cup, jingles it up, and it's just 2 dice. Slams them down on the table. Looks at you and says, "What'll it be?" And as he looks around to the other 2 people who were playing, he's like, "Place bets, place bets. What'll it be? What'll it be?"
I drop some money on the table and I go, this is literally, like, from watching it, it's literally just an odds or evens. Or...
Yeah. You call odds, evens, and there seems to be something special that happens on doubles.
Gotcha. Well, then I'm dropping down, 4 copper and calling odds.
Okay.
Even.
You just like being contrary.
You didn't
Or
let-
he
you didn't
realized group loot and he's trying to get on. Okay. The human male, he goes odd, and the dwarf male also goes even, and it is odd. So you split the stakes. The gnome cusses and throws the dice at the dwarf and says, "You roll now." The dwarf laughs and says, "I'm not that dumb."
So I sit down and I've got 2 small glasses of gin, and I kind of bump one into the gnome who looks like he's pretty pissed off.
He doesn't even look at you. He just takes it and just starts drinking it. And he's just letting this guy know how bullshit it is that he's got to keep rolling. He rolled all last night. He started the game up tonight. Just because they're his dice, takes a drink.
Perfect.
All right. So I guess I lost 4.
Well, are you going to just keep bitching about it, or is somebody going to roll the dice?
The
Guess
dwarf tosses you the dice.
Fuck it.
I'll put down 4.
Okay. Yeah, so you put in your 4. Everyone else puts in. Cespedes, what do you want to bet on, odd or even?
Oh, I'm sticking with even.
You're going to stick with even? All right. Gnome is going to go even. He's going to go even. And the human male is going to... Okay, human male is the only one going odd.
Do I also get to call, or am I just rolling dice?
No.
I didn't figure, but... It's even.
It's even?
It's tens.
Okay. The pot is evenly dispersed between everyone who rolled evens, and you just lose 4 copper.
That's funny. I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
I don't care who won, but I'm laughing at Cespedes who lost.
But I won that time.
How does the roller make money then?
No one's asked for the rules of the game. Do you come over and ask how does the roller make money? The dwarf looks up at you and goes, "Oh, if it's evens, I mean if it's doubles, the roller gets that many times from the other players.
Nice.
So you can get up to." It's whatever the die shows. So
Okay.
if it's 12, you get 12 times what everyone bet.
Nice.
Oh, I'm not betting anymore.
These rules suck.
Well, I'm still having fun.
Where's
so.
the gin?
Yeah, it's like you have like a 1 in 6 chance as the roller of getting
Yeah.
the money, but when you make, you make.
And I don't really care. I'm having fun rolling dice, so I will keep rolling until somebody takes them away from me.
Okay.
Or people stop putting down money.
Okay. The gnome and the human both go even, and the dwarf went odd.
Double threes.
Okay.
Wow.
So you got.
Good to know the rules.
And that was right when Cespedes stopped betting.
Yes.
So let's see.
Good call on my part.
So let's see. That was 4 times 4, so 16 copper. So whatever 16 times 6 is, you made that many in copper.
I'll pull out a calculator and
100.
write it down.
106.
Yeah.
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 So you made 1 gold and 6 copper.
Wow.
Shiny.
I'm glad.
This
I'm
is
glad I
fun.
quit.
Immediately, the gnome starts just cussing up a storm and sloshing. He's like, "Everyone rolls fucking doubles when I'm not rolling. Give me the dice."
I
I
give back
hand
the dice.
out more gin. More wee drams of gin.
Yeah, because like
And I don't bother to put anything away. I'm just like ready to shove it back onto the table. It's fine. In terms of coppers.
This is why they were playing so low, because this can get exponential.
Yeah, that's crazy.
right, yeah. Okay, so this will go on, and we will determine how much money you make later.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So she's throwing dice with the other with cart. This would be cart 4. Is who she's throwing dice with.
Well, I guess we're all kind of standing around and being part of the excitement. And
Oh,
I
for
was
the
act-
dice game right now.
Yeah.
Is there any other the carts you wanted to go check out?
I say I look occupied, but if you guys want to go do other things, let's just do some more socializing.
I'm going to see if there's any gathering of soldiers around. A lot of times they group up and share war stories and whatnot.
All right. Let me take a quick look over here.
I found a game of pure chance. I'm in.
Tides of Chaos.
Does it apply?
Oh God, it might.
I think it would.
That'd be a-
Look up the
Oh,
rules.
yeah.
I think it would.
I think it's only on D20 rolls. I think it specifies, or it gives me advantage. I don't know what that would that apply to a dice game. It might apply to the gambling roll if we have to do that. If you want to do an overall,
Yeah, when we do
win
the
for night,
overall-
I can probably definitely
Chaos
justify
shit out
that.
of that.
Because I was
Yeah.
straight rolling the dice for this. 'Cause
Right.
It's like, oh, it's a dice game. We have dice.
Right, that's exactly what I was doing. I just got really lucky, which makes sense for me.
Fucking hysterical.
I'm like, oh, I think I got this.
Okay, so let's see here. Let's see. Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay, so someone who stands out,
Gets their ass.
who is
Checked.
Back
bitch.
of the cart.
they say human, but he's this very somber. He's got a clean shaved head, but the rest of his body oh so woolly. Who is just known as the
Robin
Pole.
Williams. Oh, no.
Oh,
The
geez.
Pole.
The pole.
Yes, because no one can pronounce his native name correctly, so he just has them call him the Pole. Standing at 7 feet 5 inches tall, this human male warrior, covered in hair, scars, and tattered leather.
Wow.
Fuck you. You're a Goliath. Like,
Yeah.
but Goliaths don't have hair, so because they're all hairless. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's just a fuck you tall human being. he's like 7 halflings all just sewn together.
How big am I? I'm not that big.
Yeah, he's taller than you.
Yeah.
Like, you look up to him. You have to.
Should have some in your description.
I'm looking.
Did we roll for that? Yeah, I'm 6 foot.
Yeah, I definitely rolled for mine.
Yeah, I rolled for it. I just can't remember.
Yeah, and I know like you were up there, like you were like 6'8" or something like this. But this
Yeah.
he still is like half a foot on you. I mean,
And you know, tall people hate that shit.
I don't like anybody taller than me.
No,
It is weird.
It is weird.
when you find them, you're just like, what the
Awkward.
fuck?
It is
I'm
very
the tall
awkward.
one.
And then there's that also like, oh, you're hitting your head on a lot more shit, buddy.
Yeah,
Have fun.
Yeah,
You're the tallest. Good luck.
everyone's 6'3" and up just goes, man, I wish I could go back to being 6'2". That was a great height. I didn't know what I had until it was gone.
It is fun for tall people. We walk in, we see each other, and we like look around for ceiling fans together.
Yeah.
It's like, you're at the front half of the house, I got the back half. All right, see you in a bit.
Oh, I'm only 6'6". He's huge.
Yeah,
He's almost still a foot taller.
he's almost a foot taller than you. Just
And he's with a group of soldiers or something.
there are some elves and the shield dwarf you had seen earlier. Her cart lines up with the cart that he would be guarding, so that would be guard 3 and 6.
Okay.
They seem to be canoodling, if you will. Most of, and like her, she has a lot of men who her crew seems to be dwarf and human, and they all seem to have properly fitted practical gear. Where the pole and his guys, again, mostly human. There is an elf, and there is also a half-orc. Just, they look like the barbarian horde. But
Okay.
the two are very much sitting very peacefully together, sipping on something, be it soup, tea, or brandy. We're not sure.
Can I roll perception to see if I can determine if any of the elves are from a unit that I would know of? Like, is there any kind of ranking insignias, or are these guys all like kind of?
So the in this specific group, the one wood elf, he is feral even by your guys' standards.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like he, like Zell looks at him and goes, "Take a bath.
Okay.
It's
so
okay.
these
You can
guys,
stand out in the rain. It's fine."
they don't look like they're upstanding members of the Wood Elf Society or anything like that.
Yeah, this one doesn't.
Okay.
The rest, which are all moon elves, because oh my god, do they list a lot of fucking moon elves in this? There are a few moon elf guards, and their armor seems to reflect more along the lines of yours, just more with a moon elf motif and color scheme, where you've got a lot of greens, browns, and blacks. They've got a lot of blues, purple, and silver.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm a member of a very prestigious sharpshooting unit with the Elf Rangers. So I would probably know maybe if there's something equal to that with the Moon Elves.
Yeah, I mean, like, you guys aren't at war with each other. You
Right.
view each other as like distant cousins.
Right.
You know, Moon Elves you view as a little more stuck up. They look at you guys a little more. It's very much type A, type B personalities. Mm-hmm. But there's still that general respect of, you know what we both do? We both still get our shit done.
What I'm trying to aim for here is to find somebody that the instant camaraderie that some soldiers have, and I want to see if I can kind of make my angle towards those
Yeah,
people.
you're coming in as a infantry ranger, and these guys are Marines. So
Okay.
that would probably be about
Perfect.
what's close.
Okay, yeah, well that's my angle here. Is I want to go and kind of sit in and listen to the stories and maybe tell a few of my own and.
Yeah. When you first sit down or approach, they all stop talking, rise, and almost form a rank. But then one of them points, and in Elven, again pointing at that same insignia that the dwarf had recognized. I had a term for this, but it was something like a. There you go. It basically it's the Elven word for like shadow bow. Okay. And at which point in time they all stop, sit down, and immediately go back into their conversation. One of them kind of slides over on a log, giving room for you to sit down. So
okay.
No direct invite, but they have actually made space for you if you want it.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give a proper salute before I sit down, kind of giving them honor as well, as I guess would be how they would exchange a greeting.
And when they see you do that, while they don't rise the second time, they all do their own version of that salute right back to you.
Okay, excellent, perfect. Yeah, so I just have a seat, and again, I have some gin with me because I'm carrying around a couple cups of gin because, trying to make friends. Why not? Mm-hmm. And kind of pass a tankard around for some friends to have a few drinks.
So they do have a stew going in the middle, and when you get to kind of like the guy who had been taking care of it, because most of them pass, take a sniff, pass. One guy actually does take a shot, makes a face, pass, gets to the cook, he smells it, pours like 3 shots into the stew.
Perfect.
Pass.
Okay.
And
that alcohol cooks off.
While you're doing, and then while yours is making around, one of them does hand you a wooden cup, and it's kind of got this earthy smell to it. You take a sip, and it's very tingly on your lips, and you actually have had this before. You don't know its correct name, but you call it moon juice, and it's basically moon
cocaine.
No, yeah, it's basically moon elf moonshine.
Nice. Okay. Excellent.
And they're just, and it's very much that they're telling versions of their own jokes, versions of their own war stories. And a lot of it, you're like, that's not how that joke goes. It's like in your head, like it's all like it's that small cultural barrier that becomes very prevalent. But at the same point in time, they're not using it to shoo you away. But they are definitely using it to bring themselves closer together.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the only other thing I'd like to do is bring attention to the fact that I'm with the elite. The Striders is the unit that I'm with, that they're like the most renowned of the wood elves for like sharpshooter rangers. Right.
And the cook, who like seems to be more or less in charge, is like, yeah, we are aware of the shadow bow.
Okay.
Like, we understand if maybe that's not what you call it, but you are bows from the shadow.
Yeah.
So, it's like, we get it. I like to be more direct, and he holds up a pair of long swords. But no, we get it. There's definitely a place for you on the field.
All right.
Dick.
Have you not hung out with 2 different military units?
Oh no, Dix would definitely be part of it.
Marines and Air Force. It's not the best.
No, and you should throw the National Guard in there, and then you've got a real party.
Oh, God.
Coast Guard.
Well, yeah, I mean, someone has to,
Coast
wait
Guard.
tables.
Coast Guard, they show up in dresses.
They are the dates.
What is it, the Merchant Navy? Oh,
Merchant Marines.
Marines.
Merchant Marines.
Oh God. See, I grew up in a military family for real, and yes, the stories were everywhere.
That's funny.
So, do you want to try to meet with anybody? Or are you just following other people around? Is there more kind of like a group you're more interested in?
Not really. Not offhand. So the halflings with the human guards, that's the one with the big 7-foot something guy, right? That's cart 3?
Yeah, that's cart 3.
All right. With the pole, I'm sorry.
Yeah, with the pole.
Like POLE or POL like slang Polish giant?
POLE.
Okay.
I had the same thought. It's, yeah.
Like this, there will be a joke thrown if it's the other way.
There should be a joke thrown, even though it's not that way.
What do I want to do? Draw attention to myself. What would I roll for playing the flute before? Oh, performance?
Yes.
I got a +2 in that.
Are you proficient in
Yeah.
your... Okay.
I believe so.
So it would still be adding your proficiency modifier. Because the flute is a tool
Yeah.
you are proficient in.
Dice set and flute.
Yeah.
It's my 2 tools I'm proficient in. So I will sit somewhere in the middle of all of the things, the carts, and lightly play like not an upbeat, but like almost a haunting, relaxing song. Boring, but
Background music.
yeah.
Yeah.
For the people who aren't being rowdy and crazy. And I also have a wineskin full of gin that I've just taken with me. So if people come over, I can give it to them or point it to them or whatever.
All right.
And just lightly play. And if more people come over, then I'll get louder, but I don't want to like intrude on people,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Good call.
So performance is 2. The proficiency is +3.
Yeah, so it's 5 plus your...
Lord, wish me luck. 18.
Okay.
So
You are
23.
gonna rock on that flute.
Haunting.
He's not... It's not rocking, it's haunting. And it actually is one of those where people do stop and turn and stare.
A lot of long notes.
Is it
And-
Jethro Tull style?
His guitar gently weeps.
On one foot?
That's more like it. I would be fine with that.
And you kind of get to this point where you're clearly building to some kind of crescendo or to some kind of moment, and the rock gnome from before stands up and goes, "Play something happy, you bastard!" Immediately, the pole chucks his cup across, just smokes the guy in the face, and just in a low roll voice, just goes, "Quiet."
As I'm playing, I nod to him and then point the flute toward the flask and back to him if he would like.
He reaches over and kind of like it was like a half like tap to one of his guys, but it's more like a shove because when your hand is this big,
yeah.
and the guy kind of is scooted and he immediately goes up and retrieves the cup, and now seeing the cup, because when you saw it he was holding it like this.
Yeah, this is a big old wine flask.
Yeah,
full of
it's
gin.
no, I'm just saying like
he brought a cup.
the cup that he had. Well, so here's the thing: the guy who's getting up has to go retrieve the cup that was thrown.
Ah, I see.
And that cup, which while the guy was holding, like a teacup,
Yeah.
is like a full size like mug. He stops off, grabs the flask, runs back to the guy. The guy takes his cup and just kind of like does that back at the guy, which again is like, it's just human dude. He's trying to work, but goddamn the pole is just a cruel mistress. And so he returns the gin to you and just says, "The pole appreciates, but the pole does not wish to cloud his mind."
Keep playing.
Yeah. And when you finish your song, there is just a general applause from most of the guards. Because total was that like 23? Yeah, no, you if you weren't trying to bring attention to yourself, you failed. But if you were trying to bring attention to yourself, you totally succeeded.
Yeah.
And after you play, and there's the small round, then the gnome chimes up again and goes, "Now play something happy, you bastard!"
For such a little guy, he's so loud.
I'm going to kick his ass later. All right. Let's try this roll again and try not to bomb the roll. That is a 10, so 15.
Okay. Yeah, and Do you want to play something happy?
Yeah, something upbeat.
Okay, yeah, you're able to play something upbeat. It's not
crazy.
nearly as beautiful as the other song you did. That song meant something to you. You're like, and here's Wonderwall.
Exactly.
Wonderwall.
Stairway to heaven.
Holy crap. Memories. I think we're making friends. Go
Yeah.
us.
Yep.
Cups weren't thrown at us. We're doing
Great.
fine.
Yeah. Okay. So, are you proficient with dice?
I
I don't think so.
Okay.
me? Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
So,
You would have had him as your starting stuff.
I don't believe I am.
so
I am.
with yes, but you've decided to stop betting.
Oh, I did, and good thing.
Yeah. So, what I will need you to do is it will be your performance. Oh, no, not performance. It would be a charisma. This is considered a charisma thing, unless you want to try to cheat. At which point in time, it's Dex.
Oh no, charisma is fine. I'm not cheating. I don't care that much.
I know.
And also, that's just cheating. Like,
It's not as fun.
yeah. Here we go. Double checking. I will totally Tides of Chaos this, however,
You should.
Yes.
to take advantage. So it's
Burn
just a
the
charisma.
house to the ground.
Yeah, it would just be
I do have
a
the
D20 plus your
sledgehammer.
charisma.
If this ends up backfiring us
Oh my
like the
God.
big bada boom sword,
Oh, and this is the perfect time. I'm going to use the sledgehammer and take down the longhouse.
With all the merchants inside.
oh my god!
Yes.
Killing everybody.
All right. Well, even with my advantage, I got a 13,
Okay.
which is better than average. But I'm all,
Yeah. So roll. Let's see. This what the difference was. 4 copper. So roll a D8 real quick.
4.
4. Okay, cool. Roll me 2D4s.
4.
Okay. Throughout the course of the evening,
Just
you,
like straight average, literally
Yes.
average rolls on
very chaotic.
everything.
yeah, that's how
Well,
chaotic
no,
it is.
it balances out.
Yeah.
I've been down, I've been up. It's somewhere in the middle is where I end out.
Yeah, so throughout the whole evening, you end up losing 4 silver, 2
Okay.
to the human and 2 to the dwarf.
Okay.
And the gnome is just the reason the game ends is because the gnome is convinced you're all cheating
Nice.
because he can't win anything and he's lost like 4 gold.
Well, Zell, you're up on the night.
What?
She's up on
Yeah.
the night.
Oh,
she
yeah,
won
absolutely.
a gold earlier. Only lost
Oh yeah,
2 silver.
yeah. If that's
Oh, that is true.
unless
that is true.
yeah.
She's still.
Well, no. What I was
I was assuming that was total.
yeah, that was
Like,
total. Like, yeah, no, we're
My early winnings went back into the
Yeah.
game, and I came
Yeah.
out down 2 silver.
Oh,
She
I
came-
see.
well,
I
you
see.
came down. You came down 4
4
silver,
silver, that's
2 to
right.
one
I
guy,
wrote
2
it.
to another.
I
I
see.
wrote it down wrong.
Yeah, but it's you had like not a terrible night. The dwarf, ironically, because the way I rolled this, had an amazing night. Dude rolled a 19. He had a +6 to this shit.
Oh dang!
Just
Yeah, even with I rolled an 8 and a 10 on the die, so it's like, well, it's like
Yeah.
By the way, I think the proficiency in dice is just bullshit.
Hey, wait a minute.
well,
You wanna roll on that?
That's mostly where cheating comes in.
Right, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And I think that's the only reason why they have a proficiency modifier.
yeah.
because it
Or to
is-
catch people cheating.
Right.
Right. That's
that too.
where. That's yeah.
And physically, it is possible to tell how a die is going to land if you roll it right. It is a skill that is really, really hard to do, but in real life, you can.
It's a lot of this kind of motion. Just you got to practice it with the weight and every which way. You know, just a flick of the wrist and.
Yeah.
I should be pretty good.
A lot of D&D.
I said less. I have
Lots
less
of-
practice.
Lots of
You know, I
dice
just-
rolling.
Yeah.
Oh, we're terrible.
We're mediocre.
Anyway.
Okay, so
The important part is that I had fun, and literally that's all that mattered to me in the game.
oh yeah, and you got drunk too. Like,
yeah, that's like
it's-
I succeeded at the night.
like you were there. You're having a great time. Everyone ran out. The gnome got knocked the fuck out. You got up, ran, came back with more gin, and like the dwarf and the human are like, we're not saying no. Where the fuck is this coming from?
So I have to know, just because I have to know. We've gone through some gin. How much gin did we go through? We started with 50
I was
gallons.
just thinking the same thing.
So
We're
here's
down to 12.
no. So
Holy shit.
We're dead. We're literally dead.
I am keeping track of this for you. Each like water skin, most water skins only hold roughly half a gallon.
Okay, yeah.
So you've got half a gallon that you've kind of used. I figure between her game in 4 people, or 5 people, you're all fucked.
Yeah.
But
I didn't drink.
that's like maybe 1 gallon, and I figure you kind of like had roughly
Yeah, I was
a
kind
water
of
skin.
back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're at 48 gallons still in the barrel.
I say when we get to the water deep, we buy a nice drum of gin. Like,
Oh, yeah.
really
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah.
Just go.
I mean,
all
this
out.
stuff is fucking better than cash.
Right? It's fantastic. It's great for lubrication.
Dude, I in college, I had no problem getting into literally any party because I would always show up with my friend Mandy and my friend Jenny, and I would also walk in with just a handle of just something.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like, I bring women and booze. I'm not dating either of them.
Yeah.
They were both lesbians, and that wasn't going to deter anyone, really. But it's like every frat bro was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, I can't get anything.
Oh, challenge.
Well, this guy brought booze.
Yeah,
So.
challenge.
Consolation prize.
That's what guys do when we see lesbians. They're like, oh, a challenge.
No, all of a sudden,
I can at least watch.
dude, every dude all of a
Have it
sudden
on
becomes
my
Jane Goodall in the Apes. Just like, here we watch them in their natural habitat. Don't you fucking disturb this for me.
Don't look him in the eye. Don't look him in the eye.
Silverback bastards.
They've noticed our presence.
Oh, shit.
Quick, deter them.
I'm imagining Rosie O'Donnell and Tarzan. With the hair and everything.
Dude, please do not ruin lesbians for me by mentioning Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, damn.
Gorillas.
It's too
Yeah,
late.
it's all good.
They break into Andrew's drink. Next thing you know, people are like smacking the ground. And
Flipping up grass. All right.
Scene.
Oh, goodness.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
So, because everyone does have to be up
Yeah.
quasi early, no one stays up too late. Each cart seems to have at least one person staying awake on guard. Mm-hmm. So, and they just busted up into a 2-shift rotation. So you hit. So do you guys want to have anybody up for a first watch or a second? I mean,
Oh, yeah,
I'm going to
well,
say
might
that
as well.
I
someone's
kind of-
going to have a disadvantage.
If I can sleep off. It takes like
Which
4
is
hours to
2 of
sleep
us,
it
we're
off,
fine.
you know. or-
Yeah, but then you're
and-
hungover still.
2 of us are fine.
I haven't had a drink. I can take the first watch.
yeah, I'm used to hanging with soldiers who have to have duty in the morning. So I drank, but I drink just the right amount. I'll be
Yeah.
all right.
I don't know what that means.
No, you don't.
The funny thing is, neither Mary or the character knows what that means.
I've heard. I've seen. That's okay. You've
Depends
seen,
on
you've
what
seen,
I'm
You've
drinking.
seen too.
Yeah, There's
I'll
a
take-
difference between a night of tequila and a night of wine. Like, these things just happen.
Most of you have seen me at Archon, but I don't think any of you have actually seen me drunk.
I've been smashing a long time.
Mary's seen me drunk before. I don't know if you guys have.
Yeah, the first Archon. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Probably at your house.
Oh yeah.
At your house parties.
Yeah.
To be fair, I met Kirk and was really drunk.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, that night,
It was crazy.
it was fun. That was at Archon, so
Well, the thing is, by the time I get drunk, it's like 3 a.m. and everyone's gone to bed, and it's me and the one guy at the piano going, "Let it go!"
When everybody
Tiny
goes,
dancer,
time to
let's
party.
go.
It's time to party.
I guess I'll take second watch if you want to take first watch.
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that'll be it.
Well, I'm going to sleep then.
Yeah. As well.
cool. You know, there are still even humans who are taking this watch, but everyone kind of like takes the portions of their campfire and those logs and kind of move them further out, kind of making this light ring that's a good 30 yards away. So and everybody ends up sleeping on the inside of that little wheel. And what you kind of notice this is even for the humans then, because you've got a dim light, because they've got like that so far of dim light that's just barely coming up to them, their actual total sight is still it's plenty of time for them to raise an alarm, draw a bow. Right. So even though like, and like they're all doing this. So it's like even like the less experienced are taking cues from the more experienced. And it's just this level of sudden professionalism after, pole and dancing that, just it's almost humbling.
Yeah. I'm going to befriend the pole. That's all I'm saying. So if he's up while I'm up, I'm going to make my way over and talk to him. If he's just
he is most certainly asleep. The half orc from his company is who's awake at night. He's mostly just kind of hanging out, leaning on what looks to be some crudely crafted great club. It's got some it almost looks like they were just like daggers that were stuck just all the way through in order to give it spikes, and then with the handles then just kind of like snapped off. He's wearing mostly hides and furs, standing very vigilant in his guard duty. And with you guys at your cart, you're actually a little bit of a ways away, but you're not. But you're also probably in the most protected area. This is where your guys' cart is. Okay. So
I'll be sitting on top of the cart for the watch.
Yeah. All right. Change of guard happens. Falar, you come out, look around, and again, it's kind of the same thing. About the same time that you guys change your guard, so you're fully rested. It does seem like on your guard, this is when most of the caravans that had an elf seem to be posting up their elf, because you all need that you need that less sleep. And the people who were on guard seem to either be going to sleep on top of or in the actual cart. So that way when people wake up and they start moving, they can just stay in the cart, stay asleep until it's time for them to get up.
Okay.
You go through your 4 hours. Anyone you wanted to poke, prod, last minute questioning before you all hit? Well, it's not.
No, but I think I'm just gonna mind my own. And seems everyone's kind of partied out, and
Okay.
Solitary watch.
All right. At the end of your 4 hours, dawn breaks, and it's almost like a giant alarm clock for everybody outside. They all seem to get up and get moving. And from here for you as a soldier, it becomes very clear who's got the more experience versus the less. Because there are plenty of people who were drinking very heavily, that Rock Gnome being one of them, and he was one of the first people up. And while you would never use the term spry to describe this man, he still has that gnomish spring in him where he's moving around quick, putting things together. People taking some leftover embers over to heat up the last of whatever was cooking last night. And probably within an hour, the guards have the carts together, repacked, more or less in a line, ready to go. About 2 hours after sunup, the first of the merchants seem to start moving out towards, and they're mostly yawning, stretching. They've got their little packs. They move and they meet up and they start just shooting the shit, talking to people. It's a very relaxed, but you even like you guys were used to being on the road by now. Even having now spent a day and a half confined waiting to go, you're feeling a little antsy, and it's probably 3.5 hours after sunrise before the Fey cart rolls out in front, where Officer Knightley comes out on his horse, starts barking the most generic of orders. Like he's trying to get people to do what he's saying, but like, the carts are already in basically the order in which they had been ready to travel. They have all already packed up. He points at a guy and screams, stamp out that fire. We can't let anything come up. And it's literally smoking ash already. Just, here's my dick. Let me wave it around for you all. And then finally he turns around and does a big arm gesture, and the driver hitches up the carriage, and it starts pulling out, followed by cart 2. Everyone else seems to sit and wait for a minute or two, and before finally then pulling out. So there's a good probably 60-foot gap between cart 2 and cart 3. But everyone else seems to be, and for the rest of the caravan, seems to be more or less together. I mean, yeah, there's kind of a line because there's only so much space moving through.
Did any of us make good enough friends to get an invitation to join them?
Fuck it, let's just get in lines back.
No. Mostly because, and this is what you all kind of picked up throughout your hanging out last night, is it is a free caravan.
Okay. You
just get in.
Cool.
Okay.
Mr. I'm of authority, you've heard a few rumors that you think that, because while that guy is not Asbara, you can't help but wonder if that guy was some kind of lieutenant who pissed off the wrong guy's wife and has now been demoted to a chaperone instead of on a battlefield. Okay. Some people say he pissed off. Some people said he slept with. It's very much the what do you?
Yeah.
But they believe this is a political move as to why he's down here.
Sounds good.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and call that here tonight. But we have a good pickup for tomorrow. And
I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
I'm just glad that we got to get together and do this. It's been for a while.
Oh yeah, and, having a fun shoot the shit thing seemed to be the trick.
Yeah.
Seth, what I was telling them, I don't know if you were here for this, but
I was not.
For pretty much this whole next chapter that you guys are in, most of it is small. Most of it can be more or less yada yada skipped over. So pretty much when you guys decide, hey, we want to be done, the session for that night can be done. And when you decide you guys if you guys come together going, hey, we're tired of being in a caravan, then I can be like, okay, I need 2 sessions to hit these 2 topics, and then we can be done.
Okay.
Or something like that. But for the most part, this is just a nice long stretch where you guys can do whatever little RP you want. Mostly this is an RP and knowledge
random
build.
Random encounters type thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as I get to kill something occasionally.
Right.
Oh yeah. There's Nunar, the male merchant. I mean, the pole. There's the pole.
Pole's mine. Call it.
We called it.
I'm going to climb you.
Dungeons & Dragons is property of Wizards of the Coast. Please visit dnd.wizards.com to purchase your copy of the game today. The opening and closing music, Epic, is property of Ben Sound. Check them out at bensound.com for more royalty-free music. This has been a production of Gaming Without Gaming, all rights reserved. You may download only material displayed and identified on the site as specifically available for downloading. Such material is for non-commercial, personal use only, provided you also retain all copyright and other proprietary notices contained on the materials. You may not, however, distribute, modify, transmit, reuse, repost, or use the content of the site for public or commercial purposes, including the text, images, audio, and video without our written permission.